The massive alien ship floated dead in space. Its dark metal hull was torn open in dozens of places. Blue sparks flew from broken machinery inside. The ship that had once been the pride of the Veltar invasion fleet was now nothing more than a floating tomb. Commander J1 stood in the main control room of the enemy vessel. His black combat suit was covered in alien blood. Small lights blinked on his armor where energy shields had absorbed weapon fire. Around him lay the bodies of 30 Veltar warriors. Each one had been killed with perfect precision. His enhanced eyes scanned the room one last time. The battle computers showed him data in streams of green text. Enemy casualties, 3,000 dead. Human casualties, 0. Mission status, complete. The Veltar invasion fleet was destroyed, but J1 felt no joy. He had done this same thing so many times before. Each battle made him stronger and faster. Each victory took him further away from the human he used to be. The machines inside his body hummed quietly as they repaired small wounds and restored his energy. His communication device crackled to life. Admiral Bioram's voice came through clearly despite the distance to Earth. Dragon Knight, report your status. J1 touched the side of his helmet. Mission complete. The Veltar fleet is eliminated. All enemy ships destroyed or disabled. There was a long pause. Even across the void of space, J1 could hear the fear in her voice when she finally spoke. Understood. Return to base immediately. Do not engage any other targets without direct orders. The line went dead. J1 knew what that pause meant. They were afraid of him again. His own people feared what he had become more than they feared their enemies. He walked through the corridors of the dead ship. Veltar bodies lay everywhere. These aliens had been 7 feet tall with 4 arms and skin like armor. They had conquered 12 star systems before coming to Earth. Their weapons could melt through steel. Their warriors trained from birth to kill. None of that had mattered. J1 had boarded their flagship alone. He moved through their defenses like they were made of paper. His enhanced reflexes let him dodge their weapons. His improved strength let him tear through their armor with his bare hands. His tactical computer showed him exactly where to strike for maximum damage. The enhancement program had made him perfect for war. Too perfect. Back on Earth, crowds gathered in the streets of major cities. Giant screens showed footage from the battle. People watched in silence as J1 moved through the enemy ship. His movements were too fast and too precise to be human. When Veltar warriors fired at him, he was already somewhere else. When he struck back, his enemies fell instantly. In Seoul, an old woman clutched her grandson's hand as they watched the news. Grandmother, is that man really human? The boy asked. The woman did not answer. She remembered when J1 had been just another soldier. Before the machines. Before the changes. Before he became something that could kill 3,000. Aliens in less than an hour. In Geneva, President Hyjin sat in her office watching the same footage. Her advisors stood around her in uncomfortable silence. Defense Minister Kyung-ho finally spoke. The people are scared. They're calling him a monster. He saved us, the president replied, but her voice was weak. Yes, but at what cost? Look at him move. Look how easily he kills. What happens when he decides we're the enemy? The president had no answer. The Dragon Knight program had been her idea. When the aliens first attacked Earth 5 years ago, humanity was losing badly. They needed something that could match alien technology and alien strength. The enhancement program seemed like the perfect solution. They took their best soldier and made him better. Faster reflexes through neural implants. Stronger muscles through genetic modification. Better healing through nanotechnology. Improved thinking through brain enhancement. They turned J1 into the perfect weapon, but weapons were meant to be controlled. The Dragon Knight could not be controlled by anyone. In the depths of space, a single Veltar escape pod drifted away from the battle. Inside, Commander Vex9 lay dying from his wounds. With his last strength, he activated the emergency beacon. His final message would reach every inhabited world in the galaxy. Warning to all civilizations. The humans have created something terrible. They call him the Dragon Knight. He cannot be stopped. He cannot be reasoned with. He destroyed our entire fleet alone. Remember this name. Remember what he can do. The humans have made a killer that even we cannot match. The message spread through space at light speed. On distant worlds, alien leaders received the warning. The Veltar had been one of the strongest military powers in known space. If one human could destroy them so completely, what did that say about Earth's true capabilities? On the planet Corvani, the High Council met in emergency session. Elder Moore 7 spoke to the assembled leaders. The Veltar were our equals in battle. Their warriors were bred for war. Their weapons were among the finest in the galaxy. Yet this human destroyed them all. We must consider what this means for the balance of power. Similar meetings happened. Across the galaxy, fear of the Dragon Knight spread faster than news of the human victory. Alien civilizations that had never heard of Earth before now marked it as a potential threat. J1's small fighter ship flew through space toward Earth. He could have returned faster, but he needed time to think. Through his enhanced senses, he monitored communication channels. He heard the fear in human voices. He detected the alien warnings spreading across the galaxy. He had saved his people, but the cost was becoming clear. Every victory made him more powerful and more feared. Every battle took him further from his humanity. The machines in his body were changing him in ways the scientists did not fully understand. As Earth grew larger in his view screen, and J1 wondered if this would be his last return home. The looks of fear from his own people hurt more than any alien weapon ever could. He was becoming a legend, but legends belonged in stories, not in the real world. The Dragon Knight was humanity's greatest protector and its greatest mistake. The galaxy would remember his name, but J1 was no longer sure that was a good thing. 3 months had passed since the Veltar War ended. Commander J1 walked through the long hallways of Earth Command headquarters. His footsteps echoed off the metal walls. Soldiers and officers moved aside when they saw him coming. They pressed themselves against the walls and waited for him to pass. The respect was still there. They saluted when they saw him. They called him Sir. But their eyes told a different story. They looked at him the way people look at a wild animal in a cage, grateful that it was on their side. Terrified of what would happen if it got loose, J1 pretended not to notice. His enhanced hearing picked up every whispered conversation after he passed. His tactical computer analyzed their body language and heart rates. Fear, always fear. Did you see how he moved? One young soldier whispered to another. My brother was there when he came back from the Veltar ship. Saw he was covered in alien blood but didn't have a scratch on him. 3,000 enemies, all dead, in less than an hour. That's not human. J1 kept walking. The comments hurt more than any weapon ever could. He had volunteered for the enhancement program to protect these people. Now they acted like he was their enemy. Dr. Youngji was waiting for him in her laboratory. She had been the lead scientist on his enhancement project. 5 years ago, she had looked at him with pride and excitement. Now her face was cold and distant. Good morning, J1, she said without looking up from her computer. Good morning, Doctor. She turned to face him. Her once warm smile was gone. I need to run more tests on your systems. The latest battle data shows some unusual readings. J1 sat in the examination chair. Machines hummed around him as they scanned his body. The enhancements were spread throughout his entire system. Neural implants in his brain made him think faster. Muscle enhancers made him stronger. Bone reinforcement made him nearly unbreakable. Nano-healers in his blood repaired damage almost instantly. The changes are accelerating, Dr. Youngji said, studying the results. Your reaction time has improved by another 12% since the last test. Your strength has increased by 8%. The enhancements are continuing to evolve on their own. Is that bad? She was quiet for a long moment. I don't know. We never planned for this. The enhancements were supposed to reach a stable level and stop changing. But they keep making you more than human. J1 looked at his hands. They looked normal, but he could crush steel with them. Can you stop it? The enhancements are too deeply connected to your biology now. Removing them would kill you. Maybe kill everyone around you too. The power sources are integrated into your heart and brain. If they failed suddenly ... She didn't finish the sentence. Both of them knew what would happen. The explosion would level half the city. Meanwhile, in the Senate building, politicians debated humanity's future. Senator Dongmin stood at the podium, addressing a packed chamber. The people have a right to know what their government has created, he said. How many more like him exist? What safeguards prevent these weapons from turning against us? We created a monster and called it our savior. Senator Park Young stood to respond. Commander J1 has saved billions of lives. Without him, Earth would have fallen to the Veltar invasion. We should be grateful, not afraid. Grateful? Dongmin's voice rose. Have you seen the battle footage? He moves through enemies like death itself. No human should possess such power. What happens when he decides we're the problem? The chamber erupted in arguments. Half the senators wanted J1 studied and controlled. The other half wanted him honored and protected. None of them wanted to face the truth that he could not be controlled by anyone. Across the galaxy, the consequences of J1's actions continued to spread. On the planet Miran, Ambassador Vel 1 met with the Confederacy Council. The human they call the Dragon Knight has upset the balance of power across 3 sectors, Vel 1 reported. The Veltar maintained order through strength. With them gone, smaller conflicts are erupting everywhere. Elder Cornine leaned forward. What do we know about this human? Very little. Our agents on Earth report that he is beyond their government's control. He operates independently. The enhancements that make him so deadly also make him unpredictable. Then, Earth has created a weapon they cannot control? This threatens all of us. Back on Earth, Captain Minho received new orders from Admiral Bao Ram. He had been J1's closest friend and teammate before the enhancements. Now he was being given a very different job. Your new assignment is liaison to the Dragon Knight program, the Admiral said. She handed him a datapad with official orders. Minho read through the documents. The real meaning was clear even though it wasn't written directly. They wanted him to watch J1, to report on his activities, to be ready to stop him if necessary. You want me to spy on my friend. We want you to monitor a strategic asset. The Dragon Knight's power continues to grow. We need someone close to him who might be able to reach him if things go wrong. Minho knew what reach him really meant. They wanted someone J1 trusted to be close enough to kill him if he became a threat. That evening, J1 sat alone in his quarters. The room was simple and bare. Personal items seem pointless when you might have to leave at any moment for another battle. He watched news reports about himself on the wall screen. The reporter spoke in serious tones. Protests continue outside Earth Command as citizens demand answers about the Dragon Knight program. Many question whether one person should possess such destructive power. The screen showed crowds of people holding signs. Control the monster. What makes him different from our enemies? Today he saves us. Tomorrow he destroys us. J1 turned off the screen. He understood their fear. Before his enhancements, he would have been afraid too. The person he used to be would have questioned the wisdom of creating someone like what he had become. His enhanced senses picked up footsteps in the hallway outside. His tactical computer identified the walking pattern as belonging to Minho. His old friend was coming to visit. Or to watch him. J1 was no longer sure there was a difference. A soft knock came at his door. Come in, Minho. His friend entered and sat across from him. They looked at each other in silence for a moment. The people are scared, Minho finally said. I know. They should be scared. I've seen what you can do. We all have. J1 nodded. I never wanted this. I just wanted to protect them. I know. But wanting and doing are different things. You've become something they can't understand. Something they can't control. Are you here as my friend? Or as their spy? Minho was quiet for a long time. Both, I'm sorry. J1 wasn't angry. He had expected this. The enhancements let him see patterns, and predict outcomes better than any human could. He had known this day would come. What happens now? Minho asked. Now we wait, J1 replied. Wait and see which they fear more, me or life without me. Outside his window, Earth turned slowly in space. Somewhere out there, alien civilizations were making their own plans. The Dragon Knight had saved humanity from one threat, but in doing so, he had become a threat that the entire galaxy would have to face. The alien ship appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system without warning. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The vessel looked like a crystal cathedral floating in space. Light seemed to flow through its transparent walls like liquid starlight. On Earth, every defense system activated at once. Alarms rang through military bases across the planet. Admiral Bahram rushed to the command center as reports flooded in. Unknown vessel has entered our space, Lieutenant Kongjin reported. It's not responding to our hails. Weapons status? The Admiral asked. The ship shows no weapons signatures. It's transmitting a message on diplomatic frequencies. The main screen flickered to life. A tall, graceful figure appeared. The being had pale blue skin and large silver eyes. When it spoke, its voice was like music mixed with winter wind. I am Ambassador Vel 1 of the Moran Confederacy. I request immediate audience with your planetary leaders. The matter I bring concerns the one you call the Dragon Knight. President Haijin met the alien ambassador in Geneva 2 days later. The meeting room was filled with Earth's top officials. Defense Minister Kyung Ho sat stiffly in his chair. Senator Dongmin watched the alien with suspicious eyes. Dr. Yonji took notes on her datapad. Ambassador Vel 1 moved with fluid grace as it entered the room. The alien was nearly 8 feet tall and seemed to glide rather than walk. When it spoke, every human in the room felt a chill run down their spine. Your Dragon Knight has created chaos across 3 star sectors, the ambassador began. The Veltar maintained balance through their strength. With them destroyed, dozens of smaller conflicts have erupted. Millions of beings have died in the wars that followed their fall. President Haijin leaned forward. Commander J1 was defending Earth. The Veltar invaded our space first. Yes, but his methods were excessive. Our intelligence shows he eliminated their entire fleet single-handedly. 3,000 trained warriors died in less than an hour. This level of destruction is beyond what any individual should possess. Defense. Minister Kyung Ho spoke up. Are you threatening us? The alien's silver eyes turned toward him. I am explaining reality. The galactic community has taken notice of your Dragon Knight. Many civilizations now view Earth as a threat. Some are calling for preemptive action. What kind of action? The president asked, though she already feared the answer. Containment, quarantine, perhaps elimination of the threat before it grows larger. The room fell silent. The weight of the ambassador's words settled over everyone like a heavy blanket. Earth's greatest protector had become their greatest liability. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, emergency councils met on dozens of worlds. On the planet Kovani, Elder Moore 7 addressed the High Assembly. The destruction of the Veltar fleet changes everything, the ancient being said. For 6 centuries, they were the dominant military force in this region. Their warriors were bred for battle. Their technology was among the finest in known space. Yet one human destroyed them all. Elder Fentu spoke from her seat. What do we know of this Dragon Knight? Very little. Our agents report that he is enhanced beyond normal human limitations. Speed, strength, reflexes, healing, all pushed far beyond natural levels. But the true danger is that he operates independently. Even his own government cannot control him. Then Earth has created a weapon of mass destruction in human form. Worse, they have created a weapon that thinks for itself. On distant Zarian Prime, the Imperial War Council reached similar conclusions. General Vox9 studied tactical reports from the Veltar battle. Look at these movement patterns, he said to his assembled officers. The human anticipated every defensive strategy. He adapted to new threats in real time. This is not just enhanced reflexes. This is tactical genius combined with superhuman ability. Admiral Zek-7 examined the data. Our simulations show that such an individual could defeat our entire Fifth Fleet, possibly our Second and Third Fleets as well. Then we cannot allow Earth to create more like him? Back on Earth, J1 monitored these alien communications from his quarters. His enhanced systems could intercept and decode transmissions across vast distances. He listened to the growing chorus of fear and anger directed at his homeworld. The irony was not lost on him. He had saved Earth from the Veltar invasion. Now his very existence threatened to bring down the wrath of the entire galaxy upon his people. Dr. Yunji burst into his room without knocking. Her face was pale with worry. "They want us to hand you over," she said breathlessly. "Who?" "Everyone. The Miran Confederacy was just the first. We're getting demands from the Corvani Empire, the Zarian Collective, the Thanan Republic. They all want the same thing. Turn over the Dragon Knight or face the consequences." J1 stood and walked to his window. Earth looked peaceful from orbit, blue oceans, white clouds, green continents. It was hard to believe that this beautiful world was now seen as a threat by civilizations across the galaxy. What did the president tell them? "She's stalling for time, claiming you're too valuable to Earth's defense." But they're not buying it. 3 more alien fleets have been detected moving toward our territory. Invasion fleets? No, containment fleets. They're not coming to conquer us. They're coming to make sure we can't leave our own star system. The full scope of the problem was becoming clear. Earth had become a galactic pariah because of his actions. Humanity's expansion into the stars would end before it truly began. Colonies that depended on interstellar trade would wither and die. Billions of humans living on distant worlds would be cut off from their home. Captain Minho entered the room carrying a datapad. His face was grim. "New intelligence reports," he said. "The alien fleets aren't just for containment. Some of them are carrying planet-killing weapons." J1 turned from the window. They would destroy Earth? Not yet. But the option is on the table. Several alien leaders have publicly stated that if Earth cannot control its weapon, they will find another solution. Dr. Yunji sat heavily in a chair. "This is my fault. I created you. I turned you into something that scares the entire galaxy." "You saved humanity," J1 replied. "Without the enhancements, Earth would have fallen to the Veltar. And now, Earth might fall anyway. We traded one destruction for another." The communication system activated. Admiral Bioram's voice filled the room. "Dragon Knight, report to command immediately." "We have a situation." J1 made his way to the command center. The room was filled with tense energy. Officers moved quickly between stations. The main screen showed a tactical display of the solar system. Red dots marked the positions of alien fleets at the system's edge. "Report," J1 said. Admiral Bioram pointed to the screen. 12 alien fleets have taken positions around our system. They're maintaining distance, but their weapons are charged. We estimate they have enough firepower to crack planets. What do they want? A demonstration. They want to see if Earth can control the Dragon Knight. They've given us a test." She handed him a datapad. The message was simple and terrifying. "A rogue asteroid is heading for the colony world of New Geneva. 40 million people live there. The asteroid will impact in 6 days. We want to see if Earth will send the Dragon Knight to stop it or if he will act independently." J1 understood immediately. It was a trap. If he went to save the colony, he would be operating outside Earth's control again. The aliens would use this as proof that he was uncontrollable. If he didn't go, 40 million people would die. "What are my orders?" he asked. Admiral Bioram looked uncomfortable. "The president is still deciding. The political implications are enormous. 40 million people will die while politicians debate. I know. But if you act without authorization, you'll give the aliens exactly what they want. Proof that Earth cannot control you." J1 looked at the tactical display. The asteroid was real. The threat was real. The people of New Geneva were real. Everything else was just politics and fear. He had become humanity's greatest protector, and its greatest curse. Now he had to choose between following orders and saving lives. The choice would determine not just his fate, but the fate of every human in the galaxy. The Dragon Knight had saved Earth from alien invasion. Now he had to save it from the consequences of his own existence. The emergency session of Earth's Planetary Council began at dawn and stretched through the night. Representatives from every nation sat in the Great Hall in Geneva. Their faces were grim as they debated humanity's future. The question was simple, but terrible. What do you do when your greatest protector becomes your greatest threat? General Taehyun stood at the central podium. Behind him, holographic displays showed alien fleets positioned around Earth's solar system. Red warning lights blinked ominously. The situation is clear, the general said. 17 alien civilizations have joined the containment fleet. They have enough firepower to destroy every human colony in space. Our own allies are withdrawing support. Trade agreements are being canceled. Diplomatic missions are returning home. Representative Li Young from the Mars colony spoke up. What about our people living beyond Earth? Millions of humans depend on interstellar trade to survive. The aliens have made their position clear. As long as the Dragon Knight exists, humanity will be isolated. Our colonies will be cut off from all support. President Hyjin watched the debate from her seat. The weight of decision pressed down on her like a mountain. Every choice led to disaster. Keep J1 and watch humanity slowly die in isolation. Give him up and lose their only defense against future threats. Senator Dongmin rose to address the council. We created this problem. Commander J1 volunteered for enhancement to protect us. Now we debate throwing him away to save ourselves. What does that say about us as a species? It says we choose survival, Senator Park Young replied sharply. One man cannot be worth the future of humanity. He's not just one man anymore, he's become something more. Something we don't understand. At the back of the hall, J1 stood silently. He had requested permission to attend the session. Now, he listened as Earth's leaders debated his fate. Some called him a hero. Others called him a monster. Most just called him a problem that needed solving. His enhanced hearing picked up whispered conversations throughout the room. His tactical computer analyzed body language and vocal patterns. Fear dominated every discussion, even those who defended him spoke from duty rather than affection. Dr. Yoonji presented her scientific report to the council. The enhancements continue to evolve. Commander J1's capabilities increase each month. We estimate his current strength at 20 times normal human levels. His reflexes are 50 times faster. His healing factor can repair most wounds in minutes. Can you reverse the process? President Hyjin asked. No, the enhancements are integrated into every system of his body. Attempting removal would be fatal. Not just to him, but to everyone within several kilometers. The power sources would explode with nuclear force. Murmurs of fear rippled through the hall. They had created a weapon they could not disarm. Ambassador Velwon's message played on the main screen. The alien's musical voice filled the chamber. Earth has 30 standard days to resolve the Dragon Knight situation. If no acceptable solution is presented, humanity will be declared a rogue species. Any human vessel found beyond your solar system will be destroyed without warning. The ultimatum was clear. Find a solution or face extinction. As the debate raged on, reports arrived from the outer colonies. On New Geneva, 40 million people watched the approaching asteroid through telescopes. The impact would come in 4 days. Emergency evacuations had begun, but there was nowhere near enough transport for everyone. Governor Hanji sent desperate messages to Earth. We need the Dragon Knight. He's the only one who can stop the asteroid. Please don't let politics doom our people. But the trap was obvious to everyone. If J1 acted to save New Geneva, he would be operating without government approval again. The aliens would use this as final proof that Earth could not control their weapon. Representative Kim Ho from the outer colonies pleaded with the council. These are our people. Our families. How can we sacrifice them for political convenience? Because Sacrificing them might save billions of others, replied Senator Dongmin. If we prove the Dragon Knight is uncontrollable, the aliens will act against all humanity. The debate continued through the night. Arguments flew back and forth. Some wanted to use J1 as a weapon against the alien fleets. Others wanted to surrender him immediately. A few suggested trying to hide him until the crisis passed, but J1 had already reached his own conclusion. His enhanced mind had run thousands of tactical simulations. Every scenario ended the same way. Earth could not survive galactic isolation. The colonies would die slowly without support. Billions of humans would suffer for his existence. As dawn broke over Geneva, J1 stepped forward. The hall fell silent as he approached the central podium. When he spoke, his voice carried clearly to every corner of the great chamber. I have listened to your debate. I understand your fear. You created me to protect humanity. Now my existence threatens everything I was meant to save. President Haijin leaned forward. Commander, what are you saying? I'm saying the choice is simple. I will leave Earth voluntarily. I will exile myself beyond human space. The Dragon Knight will disappear, and humanity will be free to rejoin the galactic community. The hall erupted in surprised voices. Some representatives looked relieved. Others seemed shocked. A few appeared genuinely sad. General Taehyun stood up. Commander, exile is essentially a death sentence. You cannot survive alone in deep space. Indefinitely. I will survive as long as I need to. The enhancements make me nearly immortal. I can find ways to exist beyond human territory. Dr. Yunji's voice cracked with emotion. J1, this is my fault. I should be the one to pay the price. You gave me the power to protect humanity. Now I'm using that power to protect them from me. The vote was swift and unanimous. Earth's Planetary Council officially approved the Dragon Knight's voluntary exile. The decision would be transmitted to the alien fleets within hours. Captain. Minho found J1 in his quarters that evening. His old friend sat staring out at the stars. You don't have to do this, Minho said quietly. Yes, I do. It's the only way to save everyone. What will you do out there? Where will you go? J1 turned from the window. I don't know, but I'll find a purpose. I always have. The people will remember you, what you did for us. Will they? Or will they just remember their fear? Minho had no answer. They sat together in silence, two old friends sharing their last moments before one of them disappeared forever outside the window. Earth turned slowly in space. Soon it would be just a memory for the Dragon Knight. But for humanity, it would be home again. A home that was safe from the weapon they had created to protect it. The choice was made. The Dragon Knight would leave, and with him would go humanity's greatest protector and its greatest curse. Whether this was salvation or the beginning of a new tragedy remained to be seen. The small ship launched from Luna Base in the darkness before dawn. No fanfare marked its departure. No crowds gathered to watch. The vessel simply slipped away from human space like a shadow fleeing the light. Captain Minho sat at the controls, his hands steady despite the tears he refused to shed. In the passenger compartment, J1 watched Earth grow smaller through the viewport. The blue world that had been his home for 32 years was becoming just another dot of light among the stars. Last chance to change your mind, Minho said softly. The decision is made, there's no going back. They flew past Mars, where the red planet cities glowed like scattered jewels. Past the asteroid mining stations where thousands of workers harvested resources for Earth's industries. Past the outer defense platforms that had once seemed so mighty but had proven useless. Against alien invasion. Each landmark held memories. Battles fought, lives saved, enemies defeated. J1 had protected them all, and now he was leaving them all behind. Do you regret it? Minho asked. Volunteering for the enhancement program? J1 was quiet for a long moment. I regret what I became, but not why I became it. Earth needed protection. The program gave us 5 years of safety. At the cost of your humanity, that was a price I chose to pay. They reached the edge of the Helix Nebula 18 hours later. Here, space charts marked the boundary between human territory and the unknown. Ancient navigation beacons warned of dangerous radiation and uncharted gravitational anomalies. Minho brought the ship to a complete stop. Through the viewports, they could see the swirling colors of the nebula. Purple and gold gases danced in slow spirals around newborn stars. It was beautiful and terrifying, like everything else at the edge of explored space. "This is as far as I can take you," Minho said, a smaller craft detached from the main ship. It was built for long-range exploration, equipped with advanced life support systems and stealth technology. Not large, but sufficient for one person to survive. Indefinitely in the void, the two men embraced awkwardly in the airlocks connecting the ships. They had been friends for 15 years, soldiers together, brothers in everything but blood. "Take care of yourself out there," Minho whispered. "Take care of Earth while I'm gone." "How long will you stay away?" "Forever, if that's what it takes." J1's ship separated from the transport and activated its stealth systems. Within moments, it had vanished from all sensors. Minho watched the empty space for several minutes before finally turning back toward home. Behind him, the Dragon Knight began his journey into exile. The first months were the hardest. J1's ship drifted through the outer regions of explored space, avoiding all contact with civilization. His enhanced senses could detect other vessels from vast distances. Allowing him to stay hidden, he survived on emergency rations and recycled water. The ship's fusion reactor provided power, but everything else was running on borrowed time. Eventually, he would need supplies. Eventually, he would have to make contact with someone. That contact came sooner than expected. The distress signal was weak and broken, transmitted on an old emergency frequency. J1's computers decoded the message slowly. "This is Refugee. Transport New Hope. We are under attack by pirates. 300 civilians aboard. Requesting immediate assistance from any vessel in range." J1 hesitated. He was supposed to avoid all contact. Getting involved would risk exposure. But the tactical display showed the refugee ship's hopeless situation. 3 pirate vessels surrounded the transport. The refugees had no weapons, no shields, no chance of escape. His enhanced mind ran quick calculations. 300 innocent lives versus his mission to remain hidden. The choice should have been obvious: stay hidden. Protect the greater good. By protecting his exile, but J1 found he could not ignore the distress call. 20 minutes later, the pirates' lead ship exploded in a ball of fire. The second vessel lost power and began drifting helplessly. The third tried to escape but found its engines mysteriously failing. The refugee transport's captain sent grateful messages to empty space, thanking their unknown savior. But no reply came. The mysterious rescuer had vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Word of the incident spread through the refugee networks. Someone was protecting ships in the outer territories. Someone with advanced weapons and perfect tactics. The stories grew with each telling, but they all agreed on one thing. Help had come from nowhere when it was needed most. More distress calls followed. A medical ship attacked by raiders. A colony transport stranded by engine failure. A mining vessel trapped in an asteroid field. Each time, help appeared from the darkness. Each time, the mysterious guardian vanished without revealing their identity. The refugees began to whisper about their protector. They called him the ghost of the void, the shadow guardian, the silent knight. They had no idea who he was or where he came from. They only knew that someone watched over them in the dangerous spaces between civilizations. Dr. Yunji, now elderly and haunted by memories, received occasional messages through channels so secret they could not be traced. Medical supplies appeared at research stations studying alien diseases. Technological advances found their way to colonies struggling with equipment failures. Food shipments arrived at refugee camps with no record of who sent them. She recognized J1's tactical thinking in these gifts, his continued care for those who needed help. Even in exile, he remained a protector. On Earth, the political situation had stabilized. The alien fleets had withdrawn after confirming the Dragon Knight's departure. Trade agreements were restored. Diplomatic relations resumed. Humanity slowly rejoined the galactic community, but sometimes late at night, Admiral Boram wondered if they had made the right choice. Earth was safer now, but also more vulnerable. If another threat like the Valtar emerged, humanity would have to face it with conventional weapons and ordinary soldiers. "Do you ever wonder what happened to him?" Captain Minho asked during one of their private meetings. "Every day," she replied. "Part of me hopes he found peace. Another part fears what he might become without any connection to humanity. He was still human when he left, enhanced but human, was he? Or did we just tell ourselves that to feel better about what we created?" They had no answers. J1 had disappeared into the void, taking his secrets with him. In the depths of space, far from any star, a small ship continued its patrol. Its pilot no longer counted the days or months of his exile. Time had lost meaning in the endless darkness, but purpose remained. The refugees needed protection. The weak needed a guardian. The forgotten needed someone to remember them. J1 had lost his home, his people, his identity as a human being. But he had found something else. A different kind of humanity, measured not by biology but by choice. The choice to help when help was needed. The choice to protect those who could not protect themselves. The Dragon Knight was dead. But something new had taken his place. Something that had learned that true strength came not from power, but from how that power was used. In the vast emptiness between the stars, a legend was being born. Not the legend of a weapon or a monster, but the legend of a guardian who asked for nothing and protected everyone. The galaxy would come to know this legend well. 5 years had passed since the Dragon Knight vanished into exile. In the deep spaces between civilizations, J1 had become something new. No longer Earth's weapon, he was now the guardian of those whom no one else would defend. His ship had changed over the years. Scavenged alien technology mixed with human engineering. Stealth systems from a dozen different species. Weapons that had no names because he had built them himself. The vessel was a ghost ship, invisible to most sensors, deadly to those who threatened the innocent. Captain Yansu commanded a medical frigate that traveled the outer rim. Her ship brought aid to worlds that larger governments ignored: refugee camps, disaster zones, plague-stricken colonies. She had encountered the legend 3 times, each time when her patients faced threats that seemed impossible to overcome. The first time was during the Kepler station crisis. Pirates had taken the medical station hostage, demanding ransom for the 2,000 patients receiving treatment there. Local authorities were too far away to help. The pirates had superior weapons and threatened to kill civilians if anyone interfered. Yansu had sent desperate messages into space, hoping someone might help. Then the pirates' ships simply stopped working. One by one, their vessels lost power and drifted helplessly. The station's defensive systems somehow reactivated and forced the attackers to retreat. No one claimed responsibility. No reward was requested. Help had simply arrived when it was needed most. The second encounter came during the Rigel colony evacuation. A solar flare had damaged the planet's atmosphere processors. Without immediate repair, 50,000 colonists would suffocate. But the replacement parts were on a transport that had broken down in a dangerous part of space. Yeon-Su watched in amazement as cargo containers materialized near her ship. Inside were exactly the components needed to repair the atmospheric systems. The delivery came with no message, no explanation. Just the parts that would save 50,000 lives. The third time was personal. Yeon-Su's own ship had been attacked by slavers while transporting war orphans to safety. Her medical frigate had no weapons, no shields, no way to fight back. The slavers wanted to sell the children to labor camps. The attack ended in minutes. The slaver ships exploded in perfect sequence, their weapons disabled before they could fire a shot. Yeon-Su's ship was undamaged. The children were safe. And somewhere in the darkness, their guardian vanished back into the void. "Who do you think he is?" her chief medical officer asked afterward. "I don't know," Yeon-Su replied. "But I'm grateful he exists." Across the galaxy, similar stories spread through the networks of the dispossessed. The Ghost Guardian had stopped a genocide on Vega Prime. The Void Knight had rescued miners trapped in a collapsed asteroid. The Silent Protector had delivered medical supplies during a plague outbreak. Each story was different, but they all shared common elements. Help appeared when hope was lost. The powerful found their weapons useless. The weak found themselves protected. And the Guardian never revealed himself, never asked for payment, never claimed credit. On the planet Corvani, Elder Moore 7 studied reports of these incidents. The ancient being had lived for 8 centuries and seen many legends born, but this one was different. The pattern is clear, Moore 7 told the High Assembly. This Guardian only acts to protect the innocent, never for conquest, never for profit, never for politics, only when the defenseless face destruction. Elder Fentu leaned forward in her seat. Could this be the Dragon Knight? The human weapon that Earth exiled? The tactical patterns match, the precision of the attacks, the complete destruction of threats. But something has changed. The Dragon Knight was a weapon of war. This Guardian is something else. What? Perhaps what the Dragon Knight was always meant to become. Back on Earth, a new generation grew up knowing the Dragon Knight only as history. Children played games where they pretended to be the mysterious guardian of the void. They imagined flying through space to rescue people in danger, fighting evil without thought of reward. Their parents told them these were just stories. But sometimes, when cargo ships returned from the outer territories, the crews brought tales that made even adults wonder. Captain Dong Ho commanded a freight hauler that carried supplies to frontier worlds. He had seen the Guardians work firsthand during the Centauri Station incident. Terrorists had taken over the station, he told his wide-eyed audience in an Earth bar. They wanted to destroy the fusion reactor and take out 500,000 people. Military couldn't get close without triggering the explosion. He paused to take a drink, enjoying the attention. Then the terrorists' weapons just stopped working. All of them, at exactly the same time. Their communication systems went dead, their bombs became useless chunks of metal. Someone had hacked every system they had in seconds. What happened to the terrorists? A young listener asked. Found them unconscious in the station's security cells. Not a mark on them, but they couldn't remember how they got there. Station's computer showed no record of anyone boarding. But somehow someone had stopped them all. The Guardian? Had to be. No one else could do something like that. Dr. Yoon-ji, now retired but still haunted by her role in creating the Dragon Knight, read these reports with mixed emotions. She recognized Jae-won's work in every incident, his tactics, his precision, his unwillingness to kill unless absolutely necessary, but something had changed. The Dragon Knight had been brutal when needed, efficient in his violence. These new interventions showed a different approach. Weapons disabled rather than destroyed. Enemies captured rather than killed. Minimal collateral damage even when facing overwhelming threats. Exile had changed him. Made him something more than the weapon they had created. Late one night she received a message through channels so encrypted it took her computer hours to decode it. The message was simple. Thank you for giving me the power to protect them. I have found my purpose. It was unsigned, but she knew who had sent it. Somewhere in the darkness between stars, Jae-won was still alive, still fighting, still protecting those who needed protection. But he was no longer the Dragon Knight. He had become something new, something better. In the vast emptiness of space, far from any inhabited world, a small ship continued its patrol. Its pilot monitored distress calls across 1,000 light years. His enhanced senses searched for signs of suffering. His tactical computer analyzed threats to the innocent. Jae-won no longer remembered what it felt like to be fully human. The enhancements had continued to evolve, making him something unique in the galaxy. But he remembered what it meant to choose protection over power, service over glory, help over harm. The people had feared him. The aliens remembered him. Earth had exiled him, but the void had claimed him, and in claiming him, had gained a guardian unlike any the universe had ever known. A protector who asked for nothing but the chance to defend those who could not defend themselves. Children across the galaxy fell asleep to stories of the Guardian in the dark. Adults dismissed these tales as fantasy. but in the refugee camps and frontier colonies, in the places where hope grew thin and danger lurked always at the edge of sight, they knew better. The Guardian was real, the Guardian was watching, and as long as the innocent needed protection, the Guardian would be there. In the endless night between the stars, a legend lived and breathed and chose, every day, to be more than the weapon he had been created to be. The Dragon Knight was gone, but something far better had taken his place, and the galaxy was safer for it.